Tesla is an iterative company. The key to Tesla's success is building an innovation stack, and an innovation stack can only be built successfully with continuous iteration. I want to talk about the example of battery technology and the upcoming Battery Day and focus on what I think is the most important thing, which is iteration. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's August 21st, 2020. This is Krim Delco. The fund is up 5% for the day. For the year, the fund is up 195%. The S&P for the year is up 5%. We're outperforming by 190%. So that means that if we had $100 at January 1st and the S&P had $100 on January 1st, we would have $295 and the S&P would have $105. Now let's talk about the focus of our fund. By now, Tesla is about 80% of our assets. It's a massive position which grew. We are holding on to it. And the reason we're holding on to Tesla is because we believe that Tesla has built an innovation stack in several very large markets. And therefore, the opportunity and value creation opportunity for Tesla is very, very large. I want to use the example of battery technology to illustrate what I mean with iteration. So Tesla has scheduled a Battery Day for September 22nd, and a lot of people are speculating about all the news that could come out of that Battery Day. And quite frankly, on our side, we're not too obsessed about the details, but we have a very big picture view on Tesla's battery technology, and it's focused on iteration. Let me elaborate. In order to build batteries, lithium-ion batteries, generally batteries, people unfortunately have to tinker. So battery technology is a tinkering technology. What I mean with that is that you have to try and constantly try, and improvements are incremental. And that's just because we don't have a fundamental first principle theory of chemistry. Chemistry is a try and error type science. It goes back to the beginnings of chemistry and the way chemistry has been. It was called alchemy back in those days. And I think the problem with chemistry is simply that we attack chemistry from an effect instead of cause kind of way. So what I mean with that is that we look at how things react, we mix stuff together, we put some lithium, we put some aluminum, we put some magnesium, and then somehow the battery acts in a certain way, the electrons move in a certain way. Well, we don't really have a first principles understanding of what's really going on between the molecules, between the electrons, the atoms, the neutrons. And that's partly because we don't have a fundamental understanding of quantum chemistry or quantum physics. Fritz London there's a beautiful biography by Fritz London, a German scientist who fled Nazi Germany and settled in the US. He was teaching at Duke. He was sort of the father of quantum chemistry, or the idea that you can look at chemistry from a physics perspective and try to understand, okay, what's really going on between the electrons, the valence electrons, and all these things, and try to understand from a first principles perspective what's happening when you mix elements together, and why are their properties the way they are. And the reason I'm saying all this is because that is really the core of the problem of battery technology, which is because we don't have an understanding of the fundamentals of physics, we are left with try and error. The same way drug companies, for example, are constantly doing try and error. The same way battery technology is sort of a try and error science. Now, to be clear, it's not just try and error, of course, and I don't want to diminish the scientific progress in these areas at all. What I'm trying to say is that because we don't have a fundamental first principles approach to chemistry, that we need ways to iterate. And one of the keys to be better at battery technology is to find ways to iterate faster. For example, if Tesla wants to build a 1,000,000-mile battery, The way to do this is to figure out a way to iterate fast. So you can't just put a chemistry in a battery and then drive a million miles and then see what happens. You have to find a way to iterate continuously and not always have to wait until you get to the million miles. What that means in principle is that you have to figure out a way to iterate and simulate the million miles much faster than it would take to drive the million miles. And that's exactly what Tesla did. With the help of Jeff Dawn, a scientist from Canada, whose many contributions to battery technology, one of the main contributions, however, was to develop technology to simulate the usage of a battery, the cycles, the behavior within the chemistry, the electrodes and the anodes, and all these things, they can be simulated, and therefore you can think about it this way. You can put together a chemistry and then simulate a usage, maybe not a million miles, but many cycles. But you can do that in a very short period of time and then see what happens. If the battery does well, you have a good technology in hand. If it doesn't do well, you change the technology, you change the chemistry. You add a little bit of this, you take a little bit of this out, you try without cobalt, you maybe instead of manganese, you put something else. You start playing around with the table of elements, and you tinker, you use theory, you use hypotheses, you use scientific approaches, but in the end, you need to figure out a way to iterate and constantly get results, feedback. And this is something that Tesla has developed with Jeff Dawn. And that's, I think, the key in the battery day. You see, a lot of people are asking, oh, well, are they going to announce the million-mile battery? Are they going to announce higher energy density? Are they going to announce this? Are they going to announce that? To me, the key question is not what they're going to announce. It is, what is your process to continuously iterate and improve? Because one thing is for sure, if you put engineering talent into a task where they can continuously iterate and get feedback and improve on that feedback, they will get better. And this is exactly what Tesla has built within the battery technology, and by the way, at the grander scale also within the whole company. This is exactly how the innovation stack is built. For example, I mean, this is a perfect example of innovation stack. You have a problem. Problem is, how can I test a battery faster than driving around with it? I build a machine that simulates the driving around. That way, maybe instead of 2 years or 3 years, I don't know how long it would take me to drive a million miles, I can do it maybe in a week or in a few days. So I can therefore find ways to iterate much faster on my battery technology because I have a simulated, accelerated use of the battery that then helps me get back to the chemistry, change the chemistry, see what happens, get some feedback, change the chemistry, see what happens, get some feedback. This is one simple piece of the innovation stack of Tesla, but it's a massive piece, and it's another good example of why we believe Tesla has such a competitive advantage to anybody else. We get a lot of questions these days about Tesla and the stock and how high it is and should we still buy it. And our answer is always the same. We have not sold one single share of Tesla. We are continuously long. We believe that there is a lot of demand for the stock. But most importantly, we believe the company is on a trajectory to continuously deliver quality products at a much better value, if not even lower price, but definitely much better value than competition. And this is the key to Tesla as a company and to Tesla as an investment. The fact that Tesla can deliver quality at a better value is the key to the success of this company.